Hello there everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be talking about the things I wish I knew before I started collecting manga. So I first want to say, as you can see from my channel, I've found a love for manga and I just love the different art styles, the different stories. And as I've started to collect more and more manga, I'm starting to now lose a lot more space to have new mangas. So it's made me rethink about how I started even collecting manga and some of the things I wish I did differently. I'll be sharing 5 tips I wish I knew before I started collecting manga, as well as 5 other tips that have helped me collect manga more easily. The first tip that I have is think about the space that you have. So it's very easy to get excited and to just want to start collecting as much manga as possible, and you may even overestimate how much space you have. You may think, oh, I can sneak a manga here or a manga there, or put it in very odd places that are not your bookshelf. I think it's important to be realistic about how much space you can actually hold for whatever mangas that you want to add to your collection, because as your collection grows bigger, so will your space. So unless you're planning to buy another bookshelf or to get some sort of organizer for your mangas, then it's best to just buy a certain amount of manga that will fit in the space that you already have. The second tip that I have is to buy manga series that are at least 5 to 10 volumes long. Collecting manga series that are at least 5 to 10 volumes long will be 1, easy to collect, and 2, they won't take up as much space. It will also be easier to invest in. You won't have to spend so much money on, like, let's say a manga series that's like 30 volumes long or even 40 or continuing on. If you start collecting manga series that are at least 5 to 10, then you'll have an easier time to collect them. And if you don't like a series, you can easily sell them. So personally, when I started collecting manga, I never really thought about how a longer series would take up more space. I knew that eventually, like, collecting more manga would require me to have more space, but I never thought about how long a series would be and how that would impact the space that I have. Currently, the longest series that I have is Slam Dunk, but even with Slam Dunk, I don't have all of the 31 volumes. I really only have volume, I think, 9 to 12, and then from 23 or 22 to like the 31st volume. So I still am missing, like, the first couple of volumes and some odd volumes here and there. Even with that, like, I know I don't have enough space, so with that I'm trying to take my time with collecting. So that's why I advise to start off with 5 to 10 volume series rather than to go for the longer ones. And again, like, you may not like a series, so it's better to get the series that are shorter. That way, if you don't like them, you can always sell them or give them away to the library. The third tip that I have is to understand that older series and series that are out of print will be harder and more expensive to collect. I fell into this trap with Sand Chronicles. Though it is only a 10 volume series, it's an older series, and last time I checked, I think there was I saw a couple of volumes that were like 60, 50, 30, and I'm just like, it's only one singular volume. Like, I could literally get a Spy X Family volume for like $9, maybe 8, maybe 10, but 30, 60. And so it's not even just with Sand Chronicles, it's with a lot of older series. You'll find that because they don't print anymore, a lot of the series will be more expensive to collect, and sometimes you won't even be able to find a certain volume of that series. And it's even worse if the series is longer, because you may find somebody who, let's say, is selling it online for like, I don't know, 200, 300, or even 400. I highly advise, if you really want to start getting into older manga series, you have to do your research and be ready to break the bank, because it will be a hunt. At the same time, I don't want to scare you off to say like, oh, it's going to be super duper expensive. There are going to be some odd times where you will be able to find a reasonable price. However, I do again suggest to just really do your research first if you really want to get into a series, and especially if it's out of print, because that is like the worst, to like a series and want to get into it, but you realize it's out of print and the prices that you see online are really high. So there's that. So unless, again, you really want to read the series, I would say go ahead and just give it a try to invest, try to save up to get that series. Tip number 4 is to buy secondhand. I like to collect new manga series, as does anyone else, but they can sometimes be a bit expensive. This is where I wish someone would tell me that it is possible to get a good secondhand manga series that is in excellent to like good condition. Some sites that are really good to get secondhand manga are eBay, which is like international. There's Pango Books, which is only available in the US. And then there's Thrift Books. I believe that's also international, if I'm correct. Buying secondhand is great because it helps you save money, especially if you're on a budget. You can also get really amazing deals. If you know of any good secondhand manga sites or sites to buy manga off of, please write them in the comment section below because we really want to ball on a budget, you know? Last tip that I have, tip 5, is that some manga series have been on hiatus for a very long time. This is usually the case with a lot of the older series. There's some series I think that have started relatively recently that are also on hiatus, but mainly with the older series, there are some that have been on hiatus for like years. It's important to make a decision on whether or not you really want to invest in a series that's on hiatus or not. Some examples I can think of are like Nana. Nana has an anime, but the manga is on hiatus, and so the anime is technically not finished too as well. I know there's also this other series called Honey Hunt. It's similar, it's like a girl in getting into the actress world or something like that. And I think there's only, I believe, 4 or 5 volumes, and it has not been completed. And so again, if you're really thinking about wanting to get into a series, really think about if you're okay with the fact that the series is on hiatus and that you're willing to wait for whenever the mangaka decides to, you know, publish it out. In this segment of the video, I'll be giving 5 additional tips that have helped me when collecting manga. The first thing that helped me when it came to collecting manga was reading samples online before purchasing them. By doing this helped me save money and time, and it helped me decide on whether or not I really wanted to get into a series and whether or not I would even like it. The second thing that helped me was reading the reviews online. This one can sort of be a bit tricky because there's some people who may love a series and then you read it and you end up not liking it. And there's other series where most people don't like it, but then you read it and you really like it. So I like to read the reviews because it gives me a general line of like, okay, maybe I will like it because most people like it, so let me give it a try. And if most people don't like it, let me still give it a try to see if I would like it. The third thing that helped me was to start reading manga series digitally rather than to purchase them physically. Reading manga series digitally helped me save space and save money. The fourth thing that helped me was to watch the anime of a manga series instead of collecting it. There have been many times where I wanted to read a manga series and maybe I read like the first few couple of chapters, then I realized that there's an anime. In those moments, I usually just opt for watching the anime rather than getting into the manga. Because again, like if there's an anime, why would I then spend more money or spend money on buying the manga? Unless the exception is that the anime doesn't cover everything and it like stops. This tip has helped me out because there have been times I decided I want to start reading a manga series and I realized that there's an anime, so then decide to just watch the anime instead of collecting the series. And usually the animes for the most part do a good job at collecting everything that's in the manga, unless there's like, I don't know, a general consensus that like it didn't do the manga justice, then maybe I would hop into reading the manga. But even then I would still read it digitally and not necessarily buy it physically. I think the only couple exceptions are, for me, Nana, Slam Dunk, what else? Princess Jellyfish. There's another one, but I can't think of it. But yeah, so like those 3, for instance, I started collecting the physical because most of them, the anime did not encapsulate everything that happened. So there's that. The 5th thing that has helped me when it comes to collecting manga is omnibuses and box sets. I've not collected a box set yet, but I am planning to. However, omnibuses have been helpful. For example, the series Hanakimi that I have, that one I've been collecting the omnibus, and I feel like that has been really helpful because there's only like maybe, is it 10 or I'm not sure how many omnibuses that there are, but there's a small amount of omnibuses compared to if I were to have collect single volumes. Sign of Affection 2 is just coming out with omnibuses as well, so if you're wanting to get into the Sign of Affection story, getting the Sign of Affection omnibus would be a great investment because you wouldn't have to spend so much on singular volumes. Honestly, just gonna continue on collecting the single ones, but if I were to have started, I guess, a little bit later, then I would have definitely gotten the omnibuses because there's a lot more content and there's like usually 3 volumes in one. That is it for this video. If you have any tips for collecting or buying manga, please write them in the comment section below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.